How's it going, my amazing subscribers and viewers? It's your boy, Johnny, and today I will be reacting to WrestleFun's video titled The Greatest Rivalry of Our Generation. Now, in my opinion, the greatest rivalry that I have seen is John Cena versus Randy Orton. But I guess it's because I began watching wrestling during that time. If you're a wrestling fan and you're a 90s kid, you could argue that, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, or even Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mr. McMahon, which we should not be saying his name because he's not the best human being. Or if you're a Gen Alpha, you could argue Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, or Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther. And yeah, as I said, John Cena versus Randy Orton, I guess since I was born, no, I began watching wrestling during I began to watch wrestling back in 2012, and I started gaining I'm sorry for my stuttering, but I've learned a lot of knowledge of the WWE. And fun fact, I actually introduced a lot of my friends to the WWE, so I could take credit for that. Also, before I start reacting to this video, I do want to say I want to start making collaborations at least once a month. This Saturday, I will invite a friend over for a live stream, which hopefully she's able to make it. I found this app thanks to Adam 2025 for letting me know about this app. So shout out to him. Where basically I will just be talking with the people I invited or will invite. So yeah, maybe if you're lucky enough, I'll invite you over to be a guest. But yeah, other than that, I don't want to get this video started too late because I have to do Old Timmy. And yeah, here we go.
Wrestling is the only form of entertainment where stories aren't just told through words. They're recited through scars and bones. It's where legends are made in the ring, and legacies are forged in the heat of the arena. But once in a generation, a story comes along that breaks through the ropes. One that shatters kayfabe and blurs the line between fiction and reality. Today we're talking about that story, nearly 3 decades in the making. A spark lit years ago, now ready to explode. This is a war born from brotherhood and shaped by betrayal, a story written in blood, in silence, in broken trust, and now it teeters on the edge of total collapse. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, a force of nature who bent the industry to his will, a man who built a dynasty on the backs of his bloodline, turned fear into currency, and forced the world to acknowledge him. Seth Rollins, the architect, the revolutionary, the most gifted wrestler of our time. He committed the ultimate betrayal, and now, in the fire of redemption and rage, he's ready to burn it all down. CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless, the spark that started a rebellion still raging to this day. He created monsters, then vanished, right when they were about to consume the world, and now he's back, to take what was always his. These aren't just wrestlers, they're icons, living, breathing mythology, and their story is already written in blood, the one who started it all. The one who burned it all, and the one who conquered it all, and now rules the ashes. And now, they all want the same damn thing. Everything. WrestleMania 41 is the reckoning, the climax of decades of hate.
And another fun fact, this is actually going to be the main event of WrestleMania 41 Night 1, which is on Saturday, I believe, April 19th, and I think CM Punk's winning that.
Hatred. It ends where it all began. Only one survives. But before the end, we go back. Back to a time before the war, when there was only loyalty. Before betrayal, there was brotherhood. And before the swords were drawn, there was the shield.
I almost forgot how...
Cathedral of combat, where legends are... Before the swords were drawn, there was the shield. In the Cathedral of Combat, where legends are forged, two warriors emerged, bound by blood, divided by ambition, forever entwined by a destiny neither could outrun.
It's always been about you and me.
Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the defining force of this era. He didn't just hold the championship, he made it sacred, built an empire in its shadow. Ever since returning as the tribal chief, he has humbled rising stars, toppled Hall of Famers, and exiled legends to the island of irrelevance. He rewrote history in blood, and reigned for a staggering 1,316 days. There's not a name on WWE's roster that hasn't fell in line. Not a single soul remained with laced-up boots who hasn't acknowledged him. Well, all but one, Seth Rollins. Their story isn't just a rivalry, it's a psychological warfare, waged over years, a fractured brotherhood, and the wounds go deeper than any championship could ever heal. It began in 2012. Three unknowns in black vests stormed the crowd, an ambush that shook the very foundation of WWE. The Shield arrived with no warning, no promo, no past, just chaos. Roman Reigns was the power, Seth Rollins, the mind, Dean Ambrose, the madness. In that moment, they weren't just wrestlers, they were a force of nature. WWE had seen factions before, but nothing like the Shield. They moved as one, fought as one. They were the hounds of justice, and for 18 straight months, no one was safe. John Cena, Randy Orton, Evolution, The Undertaker, CM Punk, all fell before them. The Shield redefined the main event scene. They were unstoppable, until Seth Rollins shattered the Shield with a single chair shot to Roman Reigns' back. They were already legends in the making, bound for greatness. But Seth wanted more. He wanted everything. He wasn't built to share the spotlight. And on June 2nd, 2014, was the day when the Shield died. But Roman never stopped hearing the echo of that chair shot. Their paths split, but the bond, it never broke. There is no Seth without Roman, no Roman without Seth. Both built legendary careers. Seth claimed every title in WWE, became the architect, the messiah, the visionary. But Roman always stayed 2 steps ahead. He conquered the Beast, overcame The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and became the face of WWE. Yet every time Roman stood across from Seth on the biggest stage, he fell. Money in the Bank, WrestleMania 31. Again and again, Seth exploited Roman's scars and walked away victorious. Royal Rumble 2022 made that truth impossible to ignore. Roman was in his God mode, midway through his record-setting reign. Then Seth returned, Shield gear, entrance through crowd, that same smirk. Before the match even began, he was already in Roman's head. Roman couldn't lock in, couldn't breathe. Seth danced around his fury, predicted every move, laughed through the punches, until Roman snapped. He took the chair, unleashed hell, steel bending under every strike. He stood over Seth, chest heaving, eyes burning, but still, he didn't win. Seth Rollins remained Roman's only kryptonite. Roman never forgot what Seth did to him, and Seth never forgot what Roman became. While Roman defended his title sparingly, Seth fought every night. Iron Man matches, open challenges, wrestling through broken ribs, a broken back. He won the New World Heavyweight Championship and made it matter, but that belt only existed because no one could take Roman's. Then came Cody's second chance, one last shot to finish his story. The odds? Impossible. The bloodline was stronger than ever. Now backed by The Rock, the final boss, the man who sits at TKO's board. No one dared to stand against them, except Seth. Defiance was always his way. He stood eye to eye with The Rock and Roman, and vowed to be Cody's shield. He admitted the truth. The monster Roman became, that was his doing. He broke the shield that was containing the beast that's now unleashed. And now, he had to finish what he started. At WrestleMania, Seth, battered, broken, sacrificed his title, his body, his legacy, to stand with Cody. They didn't win that night, but the next evening, in the chaos of the Bloodline Rules match, Seth returned. Bodies littered the
This was such an amazing match too. The last 10 minutes were amazing.
canvas. Roman stood tall, chair in hand, ready to end Cody's story for good. Then he saw Seth. 12 years of rage came flooding back. Roman snapped again. He struck Seth with the chair, and in that split second, Cody struck. The reign ended. The tribal chief fell. Seth had lost everything, but in that moment, he completed his mission. The destruction of Roman Reigns. Roman vanished. Months passed. Then he returned. But before Seth could face him again, he has to face a ghost from his own past. The year was 2002. A young Seth Rollins, with fire in his eyes and desperation in his voice, approached the man he idolized. He asked CM Punk to train him. Punk said no. No explanation. No encouragement. Just a door slammed in his face. That moment didn't fade. It calcified. It left a scar that followed Rollins into every locker room, every title match, every broken bone he collected along the way. Rollins moved forward, but he never let go. He carved out a name on the independents, tore through Ring of Honor, became Tyler Black. He won world titles in packed gymnasiums and bingo halls, and headline shows on tape traders' hard drives. Every match was a scream into the void. Every promo a challenge to a ghost. He fought like he had something to prove, because he did. And years later, when WWE came calling, when he walked through those doors with all that history on his back, he expected to see the man who once turned him away, expected to stand across from him, learn from him, maybe even bury the past. But Punk had already made his choice. He was gone. CM Punk walked out of WWE in 2014. He vanished during the build-up to WrestleMania, the company's biggest show of the year. Rollins was standing on
Yeah, CM Punk left the day after the Royal Rumble.
the edge of superstardom, ready to step into the spotlight, and the man he once looked up to had already decided that WWE wasn't worth saving. The world didn't care. They remembered Punk as the one who spoke truth into a microphone, the pipe bomb, the walkout, the martyr of the modern era. He became the symbol of rebellion. His name echoed in arenas long after his shadow had left the building. But while Punk's myth grew louder, Seth Rollins was the one doing the work. When injuries wrecked the roster, Rollins picked up the slack. When creative fell apart, he kept delivering, week after week, title after title, match after match. He beat Lesnar, he beat Cena, he beat Triple H. He shattered his knee and clawed his way back from the bottom without shortcuts. No part-time contracts, no sabbaticals. He evolved with every reinvention. The Architect, the Kingslayer, the Messiah, the Visionary. And when the camera stopped rolling, he stayed behind, carried the show, kept the company breathing. While Punk's face was plastered on signs and shirts, Rollins was standing in the ring, bleeding for a crowd that never chanted his name loud enough. He was the pulse, the backbone, the overlooked heartbeat. And then Punk came back, a sold-out crowd, a deafening ovation. The impossible had happened. The prodigal son returned.
This return was so goated.
The world rejoiced, but not Rollins. He didn't cheer. He didn't smile. He didn't welcome him home. He walked to the ropes, looked him in the eyes, and said the words that had lived in his chest for 20 years. You don't belong here. Because this was never about a match. It was about betrayal. It was about the man who walked away from the company Seth broke his body to protect. The man who said WWE should burn. The same WWE that gave Seth everything. The same company that fed his family. CM Punk walked out when the company needed him most. Seth Rollins stayed, and the space between them only grew wider. This was never a feud scripted on a whiteboard. This isn't a storyline crafted in a creative meeting. You can hear it in Rollins' voice, see it in his eyes. This isn't performance, it's revulsion. It's venom that's aged like wine. He didn't hide it, not in interviews, not at press conferences. He called Punk a cancer, called him selfish, said he only came back because he needed attention. And Punk, he didn't fire back, not right away, but he never forgot, because one way or another, they were going to collide. The man who shaped an era, the man who lived through it, the ghost who walked out, the soldier who stayed. And when the time came, when Punk finally returned to the ring, he stood face to face with the two men who defined the empire he abandoned. Roman Reigns, the creation of Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins, the product of his own rejection. But the story runs deeper. Back in 2012, CM Punk was the reigning WWE champion. Nearly
The summer of Punk, back in 2011.
year into his historic reign, he pitched an idea to protect the title, bring up 3 guys from NXT, turn them into mercenaries, let them guard his crown. The company agreed, and the names were etched into history. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, The Shield. CM Punk gave them their shot, handpicked them, paved their way, and once they exploded into the spotlight, he stepped aside and let them run. That history never went away. It turned into a weapon. Every time Punk showed his face, Rollins remembered the rejection, the day he was told he wasn't worth it. Every match since has been a war against a memory. They fought like animals on the debut of Raw on Netflix. Steel met skin, blood hit the canvas, and in the end, only one man stood, and it wasn't Rollins. It was the man he despises more than anyone. At the Royal Rumble, the story twisted again. Rollins entered the ring with 2 men responsible for every fracture in his life. He brawled with Roman Reigns, clawing for a path to WrestleMania, but it was Punk who capitalized. Punk who eliminated both of them. The ghost devoured its own creation, but justice doesn't sleep. Punk was thrown out too, inches from victory. And as the chaos swallowed the ring, Rollins and Punk locked eyes again. Fists flew, words were lost. The only thing that mattered was the steel. Rollins saw an opening. He drove Roman's skull into it. The ring was fire. The crowd was madness. March 10th, 2025, Raw. Steel cage match. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Rollins thought he could end it, thought he could finally exorcise the ghost, but Punk had other plans. The match collapsed into anarchy. Then Roman walked in and dropped them both. Just like that, Rollins was denied closure, again. But it's not over. Not yet. WrestleMania 41 is coming. For Rollins, it's about revenge for rejection. It's about cutting the cancer out. It's about erasing Punk's name from the company's history. And look, I've hated people in my life. We all have. But then I watch Seth Rollins, and I realize I've never hated to my full potential. Because Seth, he hates Punk with every fiber of his being, every bone, every breath. It's not just personal, it's primal. But for Punk, it's never been about Rollins. Not really. It never was. But the story doesn't end with these two men. Their conflict is merely the first act in a saga that spans decades. For beyond their personal vendetta lies a greater battle for legacy, for dominance, for the very soul of the company they both claim to love. Because the fire between Punk and Rollins is personal, but the war ahead, that's generational. CM Punk entered WWE in 2005, right as the ground beneath the company started to crack. The Benoit tragedy shattered illusions. The Attitude Era was over. WWE went PG. Promos lost their teeth. Stories lost their blood. The edge was gone. But in the middle of that darkness, something raw and real began to rise. Straight edge, sharp-tongued. Punk never fit the WWE mold. He didn't smile on cue, didn't follow scripts. He walked in looking like an outsider, spoke like he didn't care who was listening, and wrestled like every match might tear the roof off. His words cut, his matches bruised, his rivalries left scars. He didn't speak in slogans, he dropped names, he exposed favoritism, he didn't protect the business, he dragged it bleeding into the spotlight. And somehow, against every expectation, he didn't just survive, he changed the company, but he never should have made it. Vince McMahon didn't see a future in him. Too small, too strange, too rebellious. But one voice kept fighting, Paul Heyman. When Punk was buried in developmental, Heyman dragged him forward. When others wanted him gone, Heyman made them watch. When WWE had no plans, Heyman gave them a reason. That trust lit the fuse, the pipe bomb, the summer of Punk, the title win in Chicago, the 434-day championship reign. He defended that belt across continents. He carried that title through the dying breaths of the Cena era, but it didn't last. No matter how loud the chants got, no matter how many records he broke, WWE never gave him his flowers. No WrestleMania main event. No true headline status. While part-timers were handed spotlights, Punk was pushed aside. But Punk wasn't built to sit quietly. He wasn't built to be boxed in, so he walked, and the fans turned him into something more than a wrestler. The voice of the voiceless became the banner of rebellion, and while he was gone, Heyman kept building. His next project was Roman Reigns.
Yeah, bro, I really like how he's explaining it.
Roman had the look, the pedigree, the corporate push. He was protected inside the Shield, booked like a conqueror, every advantage, every main event. But no matter how many times he won, the crowd never bought in, and WWE refused to let go. For 6 straight years, they kept him at the top, face of the company, rejected every night. Then the world shut down, empty arenas, silence, and Roman disappeared. Health concerns, time away, reflection, and when he came back, he didn't ask for permission. He gave them a choice, turn him heel or lose him. That same week, Paul Heyman returned, silent, staring, standing at Roman's side. Everything changed. The smiles vanished. The promos got cold. The matches got mean. Roman became something dangerous, something clean, the tribal chief, the head of the table. He demanded acknowledgement, and what followed became legend. But behind the transformation stood the same mind, Paul Heyman, the man who turned rejects into revolutionaries, the kingmaker, the one who saved Punk from the trash, the one who saved Roman from disaster. But between Punk and Roman, there was more than Heyman. Because when Roman lost his empire and vanished, it was Punk who stepped up to defend Heyman, and when Roman returned to wage war against the new bloodline, it was Punk who offered a helping hand. But Punk doesn't help without purpose. After the match, he whispered something in Heyman's ear, a debt, a favor owed, and between these men, favors carry weight. There's no friendship left, no mentorship, just violence, just power, just hatred. Punk sees Roman as a corporate project, a man handed the keys to a kingdom Punk was never allowed to enter, a symbol of everything he tried to destroy. And Roman sees Punk as a ghost, a fossil, a man who walked away, and now wants the spotlight back. On SmackDown, during the contract signing, all three men sat at the table, but Punk kept flipping pages, searching for something more, something stolen. That's when Heyman leaned in close and whispered the thing Punk had chased for 2 decades.
You get to live your dream. WrestleMania main eventer.
Tears filled Punk's eyes.
He was legitimately crying, bro.
A moment, 20 years in the making. CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless, Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, and standing between them, Seth freaking Rollins, the final boss of hatred, a fight between brothers, forged in the same fire, a battle more bitter than blood, and a war to carry Heyman's legacy. Only one man will be left standing, but history? History will never be the same. Here's a wild theory. What if Heyman betrays them both and aligns with Seth? Who do you think should win? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us
That was a great explanation. And I must say I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. Yeah, comment down below, who do y'all think is going to win at WrestleMania? Even if you're not a wrestling fan, let me know in the comment section below who you think is winning at Mania. I mean, I don't see how Paul Heyman could betray both CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I feel like the favor is going to be that CM Punk somehow gets, like, basically, if he wins, that he basically gets to be in the match between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have an amazing Easter. I will work on Old Timmy after this. Thank you. I can't speak. Thank you so much, WrestleFun, for this video. I don't think anybody could have explained this this rivalry better than you did. And yeah, guys, I hope y'all enjoy, and I hope y'all stay safe, stay happy, be the best person you can be, spread positivity to all those around you. This is your boy, Johnny, and I'm out. Adios, amigos!